After a great win, I'm not all that good, and after a bad loss, I'm not all that bad.
The arena's benches still radiated a ghost of the crowd's heat. Throughout the Hard Rock Stadium, the very sections that recently glowed with Filipino colors, overflowing with pilgrims from distant shores who made their presence known, now sat abandoned in the sweltering Florida heat. It was March 24, 2026. Alex Eala had been knocked out of the Miami Open, and the spirit of the event vanished with her. Her social media activity within 2 days of her departure, addressed to the city itself rather than the scoreboard, transformed a crushing 6-love, 6-2 loss into undeniable evidence of her sheer influence. Only 72 hours earlier, the energy in this venue was unrecognizable. Has Alex Eala become the sport's ultimate ticket seller? Can she maintain this pull when she is no longer the scrappy hunter, but the hunted? Leave your thoughts below. Eala entered the Miami draw as a reigning semifinalist, a seeded powerhouse with high expectations and a track record that commanded respect from every opponent. She dismantled her first 2 challengers with clinical poise. First came Laura Siegemund, followed by a straight sets demolition of Magda Linette. The air during those contests felt electric, vibrating with a sound and fury that neighboring courts simply could not replicate. The atmosphere in those stands was far from impartial. The stadium transformed into a partisan fortress. Then came the round of 16. Then came Karolina Muchova. The final tally was 6-0, 6-2. Muchova was flawless. Eala struggled to find her rhythm, and her high-octane Miami run sputtered out on a Tuesday. The brackets progressed. New matches were set. The schedule continued to turn, but that was when the whispers turned into a roar of observation. Spectators who had lived through the electricity of her early rounds began to chronicle the emptiness left in her wake. Rows of vacant seats, a hushed plaza, and a quantifiable drain of the vitality that had fueled the first week. From the Cebu Daily News to social media fan hubs, the verdict was clear. The soul of the tournament had exited the gates with her. No formal report from the tour or the organizers mentioned the gate numbers. They did not have to. The stark visual evidence, coupled with the tidal wave of online commentary, painted a picture that needed no official stamp. The true weight of this phenomenon lay in its familiarity. Just 21 days prior at Indian Wells, the exact same script had been followed. Eala enters. The crowds swell with unprecedented fervor. Eala falls. The ground's empty. Reports from fans and digital creators suggested nearly 58,000 spectators vanished once she was gone. The headlines shouted it. The cameras caught it. The public felt it. This was not a Miami invention. It was a confirmation that the Eala effect was a permanent force. Her victory over Magda Linette was a masterclass in focus against a seasoned veteran with deep Grand Slam experience. While the win was impressive, the sheer theater surrounding the court overshadowed the tactical victory. The bleachers were packed with a density and roar that seemed impossible for an early round match. Flags fluttered in every camera angle. The cheering was so intense it bled into other matches. Clips of the frenzy were viral within minutes. Tuesday's match reached its end. By Saturday, the grounds were a ghost town, a shift caught by the loyalists who remained. The pattern stretching from California to Florida was now a solid fact. Indian Wells, 2026. Eala plays. The house is full. Filipino pride echoes through the stadium. Eala loses, and the mass exodus begins. Digital headlines claim 58,000 fans hit the exits. The energy is gutted. Miami 2026, Round 2 against Siegemund, standing room only. Round 32 against Linette. The same crushing noise, the same wall of people. Miami, round of 16. Muchova wins 6-love, 6-2. The sessions that followed were visibly hollowed out. 2 massive events, 45 days apart, showing the same departure and the same void. This phenomenon is not based on a lucky guess or a single afternoon. It is a documented cycle proven by the biggest stages in American tennis. Imagine being the operations team watching the heartbeat of your event flatline the moment one player walks off the court. You check the tapes. You watch the foot traffic dwindle throughout the day. You see the outcry on social media in 4 different languages. You eventually arrive at the same realization the fans reached hours after her final point. A single athlete was fueling the majority of the event's fire, and her absence left the stadium cold and quiet. The community that realized this before the experts even crunched the numbers deserves credit for the movement they built. Dedicated supporters booked their airfare before the tournament bracket was even finalized. They transformed South Florida's courts into a vibrant cultural hub that felt impossible for anyone to overlook. They weren't just being loud. They provided the evidence. This phenomenon belongs entirely to her followers. They constructed this momentum match by match, and every vacant seat after March 24th confirmed the empire they built long ago. Despite a crushing 6-love, 6-2 blowout that usually sends athletes into hiding, Eala took to social media within 48 hours. Her message ignored the sting of defeat, focusing entirely on her love for the city. She insisted that Miami remains the pinnacle and will always occupy a sacred corner of her soul. That statement wasn't the hollow script of a professional athlete performing for an audience. It came from a person who genuinely absorbed the crowd's energy and mirrored it perfectly. The connection flows both ways. That digital update is the clearest proof yet. Paul Annacone has navigated the peaks of professional tennis for 30 years. He guided Pete Sampras through his final legendary chapter, a journey that concluded with 14 major championships. He advised Roger Federer's camp during a high-stakes era when every competitive choice was dissected by the entire sporting world. His authority wasn't earned through his own trophies, but by spotting the it factor that separates a technical specialist from someone who truly captivates a stadium. At the dawn of the 2026 season, Annacone shared a thought on Eala that, when compared to the Miami footage, feels like a clinical diagnosis of her impact. He noted her radiant smile and the way she carries herself with genuine poise and a grounded spirit. He emphasized that she handled her rise with incredible decency and low ego. What Annacone pinpointed, that rare ability to shift the mood of a room, is exactly why her matches feel like a different universe. Supporters don't organize global expeditions, wave their national colors, and pack the bleachers just because of a player's efficiency on pressure points. They show up for the emotional resonance she brings. Annacone captured the essence of that magnetism. The desolate seats in Miami were the physical footprint left behind once her spark was gone. The combined signals from California and Florida have massive consequences for the rest of the 2026 tour. Filipino fans have essentially conducted a massive, organic study across 2 major American tournaments, and the data is clear. A fierce, worldwide traveling tribe following a rising star can fundamentally rewrite the atmosphere and attendance numbers at top-tier events, bypassing corporate marketing through a heartfelt devotion to one woman's journey. The indicators were there from her first match. Those empty rows in Miami were predictable for anyone tracking the California leg. Looking back, every event was a stepping stone toward this undeniable conclusion. The only question was how much proof the world needed before it became a settled fact. The dirt courts of Stuttgart, Madrid, and Paris are the upcoming hurdles in late May. These venues are about to witness the same shift the hard courts did. Her name on the list isn't just another seed. It's a guaranteed electric vibe that no other current star can produce with such consistency. Whether her influence survives the transition to European clay, where the strategy changes and the physical toll mounts, will define the narrative for the rest of the year. The outcome will either prove her global dominance or expose where the hype hits a wall. Regardless, the experiment is in motion. 6-love, 6-2, 0 sets won. Just 4 games grabbed against Muchova that Tuesday. She was outplayed in every department. A clinical, one-sided affair. She met the moment with a raw honesty that didn't hide from the results, saying she felt great about her week. She reflected that she isn't a goddess after a win, nor a failure after a stinging loss. She tries to maintain a cold, rational perspective on her performance. 2 days later, she was praising the tournament again. The scoreboard was final, but her impact remained. The sea of fans, the waving flags on the barricades, and the stark drop in energy after March 24th mirrored the exact same phenomenon seen at Indian Wells. Identical results followed. Within 48 hours of a 6-0, 6-2 defeat, she confessed her heart remained anchored to that tournament. This timeline doesn't reflect a competitor who merely stumbled upon a few lucky victories. It chronicles a tidal wave crashing into 2 elite tournaments that were caught off guard by her sheer impact. The Eala phenomenon isn't validated by a corporate statement or an official tally, but by the raw video evidence. It lives through the digital whispers, the Cebu Daily News headlines, and the endless stream of online analysis. It was cemented in a final message from an athlete to a city that gave her warmth instead of coldness. Fans swarmed those Florida courts long before any official ranking warranted such a spectacle. They weren't ahead of their time, they were simply right. The hollow silence of the empty seats afterward confirmed everything they already knew about her power in an arena. Has Alex Eala already become the most magnetic force in the game, or will the energy transform once she becomes the hunted favorite? Share your Roland Garros outcome predictions in the discussion below. This platform investigates the WTA and the Eala narratives that the mainstream press notices but lacks the courage to truly explore. This legendary pull was etched into the bleachers well before it was reflected in the news cycles. For those who believe these chronicles deserve the depth they've earned, joining the community ensures the story continues. Stuttgart is coming, Madrid is coming, Roland Garros is coming. The next phase of this journey is already etched in stone. Be present for the moment the legend grows.